nice to meet you, and thank you for joining the show. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I really do.
Thanks for having me.
So, you have been singing, and I would like to get the record straight because I got two ages. I got 14 and 15. Which one
Okay, yeah.
is it?
I was 14. I was 14 when I signed my record deal.
Okay.
Yeah, and kind of been singing my whole life, but when it started kind of happening professionally, that I was 14.
And it started with Christian music, or were you just were
Yeah, basically. Well, that's also kind of funny story because I didn't grow up on Christian music. I didn't know what it was. I guess I knew who Amy Grant was. I had like kind of the basics, but I didn't know that there was this whole world of Christian music out there. And so I was asked to sing at this coffee shop that was sort of next door to. So I grew up in Colorado. So there's a seminar in Colorado where it's like almost like a festival. There's all these artists playing and songwriters and battle of the bands and all that stuff. And I was asked to sing at this coffee shop next door. And so, but they were like, this is a Christian music event. So I was like, I don't know what Christian music is, but so I got the soundtrack for The Preacher's Wife.
wow.
And I was like, does this work? Is this Christian music? So I just like sang the soundtrack of The Preacher's Wife, and they were like, sort of. That sort of works. Yeah, that'll be fine.
I'm sure Whitney Houston
So
was
that's
happy.
what I did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if she ever knew that I existed, I'd be happy. So. Yeah.
So that's how it all started.
Yeah, that's how it started. And then, yes, so that record deal, so that's the night that I kind of got offered a record deal. And then from then on, I started to learn about what Christian music was and that there was this, whole world of music about God. And so I was like, yeah, I like that idea.
Wow, that's
I'm
interesting.
in.
So you didn't come in like as someone that was totally going to church and just had this whole Christian vibe to you and wanted to.
I mean, I did, but I didn't know there was this music culture. I just was like, this, I grew up, going to church and loved God in my own 14-year-old way, in my limited way. We, we went to like a really, really cool church, a really fun church, and learned, a lot about the Holy Spirit and who Jesus is. And, but again, I was like, I didn't really put the two together. I was still, I actually was singing like Mariah Carey songs at church because that's what I knew. I was like, this sounds
Churchy.
like I could apply God to this.
Churchy.
Yeah, I could do this. There's a choir in this.
Oh.
But yeah.
Oh, so how did you start writing your own songs, and how was that? How did that process happen? Because it sounds like you came into it in a very interesting way.
Yeah. So when I was signed to my deal, I hadn't written one song. I mean, I had, but it was all tucked away real tight. I would never have shown anybody.
Sure.
So when I signed my deal, the only way that we could really figure out how to sing songs for a 14-year-old without me being like some big, strong Taylor Swift writer, we rented this house out in Franklin, Tennessee. And me and my mom stayed there for about a month, I think it was. And producers and writers would come to the house and we'd like eat meals together and we'd talk and we'd hang out. And then the writers would go off into different rooms and write songs for me.
Wow.
While I was there. Yeah. And so I would kind of make my rounds and kind of check in and be like, and they would say, does this sound like you? Does this sound like something you would say? Or they'd be like, hey, what was the last conversation you had with God? I remember there was one time there's a picture actually of me taking a walk with Cindy Morgan and Ginny Owens. And we're just taking a walk like down this country road. And they came back after that walk and they wrote Blessed, which was an old song of mine. And that was because of just a conversation that we had about being blessed because of ordinary things and not because of the big, the big, thunderous moments of life. It was more about the the everyday, moments of life being what make us blessed. So yeah, so that's how that first album was written, was just in that house. Then I put that album out and I toured um, and I grew up and I grew a lot over the next couple of years. And so after that, from then on, I tried to write almost all my songs. I think we still kind of took some other songs, but from then on, I became a writer.
Wow. And have you
Yeah.
enjoyed that experience and that process?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like, being a singer first, just say a singer of other people's songs is already such a cool, it's just something that I love, that's the thing that just flows out of me. But being able to sing words that came from my heart and came from my experiences, songs that I can talk about on stage and tell the full story of, there's nothing like it. It's really, really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. And it sounds like, so you wrote your own songs and you took a break? Did you took a break somewhere in between?
Yes, I did. I mean, I wrote and recorded and toured from the age of 14 to 21, 22. And yes, then I was like, I was like, I need a break.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I think when a lot of people turn 21, 22, they start to think, who am I? Like, what is all this? What have I been believing? What have I been saying? Do I mean it? What is life? How do you do your own laundry? All that kind of stuff. So I just needed to, just step back for a second from the routine and the expectations of other people, and without the watching eye of other people. I just needed to kind of, I mean, at the time I remember saying, I just couldn't even decipher, the sound of God's voice from everyone else's voice in my life. Yeah. There were just there's a lot of input happening. There was a lot of ideas and all these things. And I just was like, I don't even know what God's voice is saying right now. So I had to, so I had to kind of, I just cut ties with label and management and everything, and just I literally became a nanny.
Wow.
I was like, what is the opposite of this? What is the opposite of like all eyes on me, glam and makeup and stage and all that? And I was like, babysitting. So and that's what I did for like a year, and I just like kind of recalibrated and just kind of got real friends, that like I was in one spot for a long period of time. I didn't go on tour. I didn't leave, my friends and family for months at a time, and just kind of learned what home felt like again. And so I took, and then I sort of, so that kind of spurred on a lot of different adventures. I sang background for a couple artists. I sang background for Jordan Sparks, and we went on tour with the Jonas Brothers and Britney Spears, and then I did a TV show called The Sing Off. I sang background for Hosier. I put out another little pop EP somewhere in there. So I just kind of kept like, I was just kind of like, oh, that looks fun. Oh, that looks fun. Let's do that. Wait, what are you doing over there?
Right.
And enjoyed that for a few years, and then I had my little boy 5 years ago. So I've been just kind of momming / writing and recording again.
Yeah, I read somewhere that because of your son, he seems to have brought you back into singing. And
I'm losing you.
Can you hear me okay?
You're cutting out a little bit.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes. Yeah, sorry, I'm checking my Wi-Fi. Okay, mine looks okay. Okay, I missed that whole last question.
No problem. I read somewhere that because of your son, you started singing again, and he has been an inspiration to you. To write more.
Totally. Yeah, I think you just, you see you see stuff freshly again, you know, and like the jadedness kind of starts to wear off, and you start to see, you know, especially when you're singing about your faith and about this God that you've kind of known. For me, like I've known for such a long time in my life, but seeing them through fresh childlike eyes, well, child eyes, is just, it brings you to life again. It brought me to life again. And it reminded me just that like music still works, you know, and it still is powerful, and that, you know, it's not all been said before, and it's not, and it doesn't matter, because if it's an expression, like I look at Jackson, my little guy, and I'm like, whatever he wants to say, whatever he wants to feel, it's allowed, and it's like welcome in this house, you know, and it's welcome in the
Yeah.
world. And I'm like, shoot, I need to say the same thing to myself, you know. I need to welcome my own thoughts and my own heart again, to the world of music, and um, the thing that I love so much. So he's really, you know, helped me to believe in myself again.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
I do want to make a comment. I mean, it sounds like, you know, so you stepped out of the limelight, and, you know, you were doing background for all these individuals. It does say a lot about you, because most people love that limelight. They just, you know, they want to be there. They love the attention forever and ever and all of that. But you said, you know, I'm good. I want to find myself. I'm going to be a nanny, and then do all of this stuff, and then start a family. It does say a lot about you, and who you are, and you know, you're not all about the material stuff, which is something that's very rare, but it says a lot about your personality, and it shows up in your music. And you know, there are quite a few songs that I'd like to dive into, but one of them is "What If,"
Okay.
and it's even the lyrics for "What If" talks about, you know, God basically loving you and liking you where you are. That's pretty much what it's about. It's not about the glitz and the glamour. It's like, you know, what if God just loves you? Just right there. Don't move, don't go anywhere, don't, just as you are.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's totally, you know, stemming from to like a child. Like a child has done nothing. They're, you know, like they're just learning how to walk. They're just learning how to exist. And God loves that little child just as much as any, you know, grown person that has changed the world, you know. Um and so it's just to me, like I just wanted to write a song for the people that feel, you know, uh small and forgotten, and or like too far gone, or alone, insignificant. Like just I one thing that I have been doing this entire time is I work with people who are incarcerated and unhoused, and me and my family run a nonprofit to help these people get on their feet again. And I just felt like every song I write, I need to be able to hand to one of them, and for them to feel seen in it, you know. And and the truth is, I've been there myself, and I've been felt forgotten myself, and I have felt lonely myself. And so this is somewhere that we all have gone in our lives, like especially in the journey of like being a Christian. Like there's always that, we've all had that phase where we're like, but I don't think I'm good enough, you know, or I don't think I'm, or I'm deserving enough, or whatever. And you know, it's just like, it's just good to remind each other of what God already says, you know, to us in the Bible. He already loves us. It isn't that that it's by grace, you know. And so you know, that song I really was excited to put out, because I just I wrote it with a friend of mine that she also has kind of been in that place where you're just like, you know, what if we're just missing it? What if we're just like we're just reaching and grasping for like all these ways to get more love when he's just like, I already do.
Yeah.
I already do. Just, you know, um,
But
enjoy it and receive it.
yeah, but I honestly think it's I don't know if there's any biblical reference to this, but I do think
Okay.
um it's God's plan for us to go through these trials. The Bible talks about, even though you shall go through the valley of the shadow of death, you shall fear no evil,
Yes.
for I am with you. So he's saying
Yes.
you will go through the valley of the shadow of death. And then, there are sayings like you have to go through a test to have a testimony. You have to
Yeah.
have a mess to have a message.
Yeah.
And all of that. And I do think as Christians, we're tested a lot, and we definitely have journeys, but those journeys, we have to share them with others, so people know that we came out of it with Christ by our side, and through God all
Right.
things are possible, and with Him and Him alone we came through, and we
Right.
prevailed through all
Yeah.
these.
And what if we actually walked through these trials and these messes actually believing that God is still with us,
Exactly.
like actually believing that we're not only that, but that he loves us like through it, like he's walking with us lovingly,
Exactly.
and yeah, it's like it's something that I think I'm learning a lot, like just from like young Christians these days that are just like, digging into this part of their faith, and I'm just like so inspired by people that are walking through hard things and accepting God's love through it.
Yeah, it's not easy, but
Yeah.
it can be done, and with prayer and faith and the community and amazing support groups. I know you just touched really quick on your charity. I think it's People Loving Nashville.
Yes.
It's stuff like that also helps people say, I might be going through a tough time, but God's love is here, and to show me that God is still in my life. He's still helping me with food. He's putting food on my table through charities like yours, and it's an extension of God's love and how people can still find Christ no matter what they might be going through, and it ends up becoming part of their testimony. So
Yes.
thank you so much for what you're doing, even with your charity.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
So another song that you sang was Rahab's Lullaby, and that's with I think it's called the Faithful Project.
Yes.
It's a bunch of amazing Christian women that came together and decided to record some amazing songs. If you could tell me about that.
Yeah, I love this. We started this in January of 2020, so right before the world turned upside down. We got together and wrote a bunch of songs. We read songs from the Bible, or read stories from the Bible about women specifically, and there were about 20 to 30 writers, songwriters, and authors, and we grouped off into little groups and we wrote songs about these women. And it was really, it was such a cool experience because I just felt like all I could think about, I had just found out that I wasn't able to go back into the jails to work with the women that I had been working with that were incarcerated. And so it almost felt like I was able to do this and write these songs with these other women for them. And so again, I had them in mind while we were writing, and all these stories of just women getting silenced and getting and being told that they were not important by society, and then God just being like, wait, like these, like like actually women are going to be the groundbreaking pieces of my story. And the first time Jesus announced himself as the Messiah was to a woman, and the woman was the one who told everyone else. Um and just to learn all this, in my 30s, and to like really listen to these stories in this way was so huge, and I just couldn't wait to like pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. And that's what we're doing with Faithful. It's We have an album and a book, and we're working on another album now, um and it's all just these stories of awesome women in the Bible. So Rahab's Lullaby is about Rahab. And she is one of the wildest ones in the Bible. And I love that. So the name of the program that I help run in the prisons is called Wild Ones, the Wild Ones. So I'm just like, I'm all about the wild ones. And Rahab was, well, and I think in the obvious sense of the word, people would think, yes, she's the wild one. She had a profession that was very racy and very unpopular and unholy in that time. And but to me, that's not her wildness. Her wildness to me is her faith, and the way that she heard of this God, and she was like, oh, that's God. Like all these other gods, like that's not God. This is God, and I'm hearing of him, and it is not popular to believe in him, but I know it's him, and I love that, like that grit, of her just sticking to it, and then all the courageous things that she did to protect her family, and to be protected, so that she could meet this God, and so Rahab's Lullaby, gosh, I cry every time. I cry every time I sing it. You can hear it actually in the recording. The poor producer, he was like, three or four times, he was like, I need you to go blow your nose. He's like, I can hear all of it. I can hear your snot. And I was like, I know, I'm trying not to cry. And mostly because she's actually, the song is actually talking to her son. And I have a son. Yeah. And so just, all of the really beautiful language that she uses, she says, oh, my son, your heart may melt with fear, but I know one who's with me even here, who loves me even here. And, messages like that, like if I could speak to my son like that as much as possible in whatever way he'll hear it, that is like, that's courageous. That's a hero to me. So I was honored to be able to be part of that song, and the whole Faithful project too. I would just listen to it.
That's fantastic. And yeah, I think we all look forward to what you guys come up with next. Is it the same group?
Yeah, there's a couple. We got some newbies also, so we're kind of adding to the crowd. And there's actually a podcast also that just came out, and so it's kind of just a collaborative. There's a lot going on with Faithful, so you can kind of find us everywhere.
Nice. And you have another song, We Can Be Free. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, sure. So I put this one out a couple months ago, and I wrote it. Since this is the Songpreacher, since this is about songs, I'll tell you exactly how I started this song. Yes. It was like an angry song. Like, okay. I was like mad when I started this, and I brought it in. I had just seen, there was a lot of stuff on the news about let's see, the dividing groups on how to deal with the pandemic, on how to deal with what we're supposed to do with all this information, and there was a lot of division, and there was a lot of people speaking out in really hateful ways. And so I just got my pen and I just started writing stuff down, and it was just this angry like rant of just like, why are people this way, and why is this happening, and why aren't we loving each other? And so I brought it into my co-writers, David Tulene and Ryan Shirley, and they were like, okay, it's gonna be okay, and let's start taking some of these words and we'll figure out how to do this in a loving way. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Because ultimately that is what I want to do. I don't think you can speak to anybody if you don't show them love, first. I don't think you can change anybody's mind unless you hear them out first, or or if you don't know their story or whatever. And so and I know that because I work with people all the time, and but I I needed it to start there, and I think, there's anger in the Bible. There's people that were writing with so much anger in the Bible. And so it started that way. And so we just kind of dug into the lyric and kind of tried to figure out what I really wanted to say here. And so, yeah, it basically, the song is about being free from what we've, what we've, I guess we don't have to be tied to everything that has happened in the past. And we don't have to let the past define us. We don't have to let our hurts define us. We don't have to let an old belief or an old thought hold us to anger and hatred. We can look at the situation in front of us and ask God in that moment, who are you right now? Where are you right now? That's where I want to go. Not to some fundamental thing that I learned when I was young. And so so I kind of started to, like some of the lines, I'm trying to think of some of the lines in there. It's like, we can be free. Who we were won't define who we're going to be. And that was one. And then one of the other lines is, hurt people. We just keep on keeping score. We don't have to be a victim. We don't have to make more. We can be free. We can be other, I think that was one thing too, that I had to think about a lot, during election time, during, with all of the racial injustice, with all of the division in how to deal with the pandemic. I had to keep thinking, wait, God is other. He is not on this side or that side. He is up here, he is other. And so, there is no score. There is no, there is no perfect, complete, tied up answer. There's something bigger and more loving and more merciful happening. And that's freedom to me. That's true freedom. And so, that's kind of where that song came from.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. It's interesting to dive deep into, the process and where it came from, and how, pen went to paper, and things morphed into what it is. And
Yeah.
I do appreciate, and I know the world will appreciate, the fact that you're trying to bring us together, because we definitely live in a more divisive time than, I don't consider myself ridiculously old, but I've never seen, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So. Right.
We just need to have more connection and more good conversations with each other like this,
Exactly.
We're talking about hope and stuff, and we got to cancel all that out. And it's a little bit hard right now because we're all, we're all separated and all that. So
yeah. And speaking about that, are you thinking about going out anytime soon, or because of this new variant?
Well, I just got it last week, so
It's like I ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
I got that. I do. I know there is a safe way to do it, and I toured a little bit last year, and I do. Yeah, I do. Like I crave it, and I crave being with people and playing music live, and so I definitely will be traveling at least the second half of this year. I'm still in the studio right now working on a new album. And so not too much touring going on right now, but here and there I'll probably bounce out for a few shows and a few things. And then hopefully, second half of this year, hopefully I'll be touring like normal.
Nice. Now you and your husband did this whole living room tour.
Oh yeah.
Thing.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Are we going to be seeing really a formulation or a different type of
Oh my gosh, I don't know how we'd do that again.
You guys were
just
tired.
a couple.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Even from the videos I saw, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys were.
We were doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were a little young there, and we didn't have a 5-year-old either, so I doubt it. But I would maybe go do a little version, me and some friends or something, of the same thing. I loved being in, like that kind of intimate thing. And I love like storytelling and just kind of actually being with people and not just like singing at them. So I'd love to do like kind of a mixture of the two, of like go on tour, do the big shows, but maybe do some smaller visits in between or something.
And how did all of that start with the whole living room? Because I thought that was pretty unique for someone like you. Yeah.
Yeah. It was after, gosh, when did we do this? We had just gotten married, and I kind of wasn't sure if I wanted to dive back into the industry yet, into kind of the full machine of like, make an album, get on tour, lots of pressure, show up, perform. I wasn't ready for that yet. And so we thought this would be like a fun little in-between kind of compromise of still doing music and being on the road and connecting with people, but not going full blast.
And hindsight 2020, yeah, maybe not again.
Yeah, maybe not again. Maybe that was just a nice time of my life, and don't need to
I'm older
redo
now. I'm a mom now.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah. We'll leave that for the other generation, the next crew to come. That's cool. So, let's just talk about you. I mean, so what do you do with your time other than your charity? What are the fun things you're working on? I know you mentioned you're working on an album, but what else are you up to?
Yeah, I mean that is the fun thing right now, and it used to not be like the most. That it used to feel like it started to feel like work, kind of later into my career, and so. To be able to like reclaim this as something fun that I do is really big. I'm writing and producing it with my friends, with two of my closest friends. We're keeping the camp small. We're keeping, I literally am like keeping it in my neighborhood. We're just kind of, I want to feel like this is me and my family, my family, making this album in a safe place, so that is what I'm doing with a lot of my time, writing and recording. Me and my blood family, we run this nonprofit together, and we spend a lot of time doing that. Gosh, life feels really crazy. Just kind of trying to keep up with my little guy, and he's just like a crazy soccer player, so we're just constantly, outside and running around and wearing ourselves out. And so it's a full life over here.
Is he like so into soccer where you're watching soccer on TV or not
It's
yet?
insane. No, yes, yes. It's crazy.
No way.
He knows players. He knows like all the countries' flags, like in the whole world. And I don't even know,
Wow.
but he knows them because he knows the teams. And he'll be like, we went to like this big like sports complex thing, and they had like all these flags outside, and he's like, that's Albania, that's Lithuania,
Oh,
that's Brazil, that's Uruguay. Like, I was just like, whoa, I don't know any of this. So yes, he watches it. He knows players. He knows where they're from. He knows stats. He knows when,
what?
even like the little tiny like Premier League teams and stuff. Yeah, he's a little
And you said
crazy.
he's 5?
Yeah,
Oh
he's
boy.
crazy.
Genius
Yeah.
hands.
Yep, something like that.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. And then who would you love to record with that you haven't recorded with?
Wow. I mean, if I'm shooting for the stars,
Go for it.
Stevie Wonder is my absolute my top. I've always listened to him. Will always listen to him. I know every song. I know every deep cut. I know every vocal run that he does. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, that would be amazing. More in the realm of reality. I mean, okay, this is still way out of the realm, but I'm also a huge Coldplay fan.
okay.
Um, I love I love her, like Her,
Yeah, yeah.
that
Oh,
artist. I really love what she's doing. And then I just have like lots of friends here in town that, yeah, like I have worked with and known forever, that I would love to collaborate more with. Toby Mac is one of them. I I have a friend named Andrew Rip that I'm working with a lot, and so yeah, so some of them I'm already working with,
oh,
so it's kind
that's
of nice.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Oh, well, I pray your wishes come true. Um,
thank you.
you've definitely earned it. You've been in the industry for a long time, sang amazing songs, and blessed me, and I know you've blessed millions of people all over the world. I didn't grow up in the States, and I heard your
Okay.
music. I grew up in Nigeria, and um,
Wow.
we were playing your jams out there.
No way.
Hundred
Oh, I
percent,
love it.
100%. So, I mean,
That's
being able
so
to talk to
cool.
you now and knowing that I've been listening to you even prior to moving to this amazing country, it's,
Well, I hope I didn't ruin it all for you.
no, no. No, it's an honor and it's a blessing, and I'm extremely excited. In fact, I was trying to I have your CD like most people, and I was trying to get your CD here, but my mom said I'm gonna have to send it really quick because it's still here in Nigeria because
Oh,
I
oh,
left my CD collection there. I didn't bring it with me.
yeah.
So she
Right.
went to
Kids
I
now.
told her I was interviewing you. I was like, can you check and see if you have if the CD's still there? It's right there.
It's right
It's
there.
right
Oh,
there. So I still have your CD
oh my
in
gosh.
my room. So
Oh my gosh, that is cool.
yeah.
Okay, well, I kind of like that there's just a lone Rachel Lampa CD in Nigeria. So leave it
In some
there.
room in Nigeria somewhere.
Yes, yes, yes. I like it. I like the mystery.
Well, we're all digital
That's
now,
so
so
cool.
yeah, I got my.
Yes, yes, exactly. I know. Yeah, you're
But
you're talking into your CD collection right now. So
I'm aging myself.
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know. Somebody gave me my. I had a cassette tape.
Whoa.
So somebody actually they brought it to the merch table for me to sign, and I said, I will give you one of everything at this table if you can trade me that cassette because I don't have one. And they were like, sure, yeah. So I got my cassette from them and I gave them like hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise.
Whoa. Yeah, I
Yeah, isn't
don't
that
have
crazy?
I don't have any of your cassettes. I had the CDs, but
That's
that,
old.
yeah,
That's
at least,
old.
hey, at least you're not saying somebody has your A track. Now
Yes, yes.
that would
All
be a
right.
problem.
We still got that. Okay. Yep. We're
Yeah,
not that old.
we're not that old.
Right. Totally. Totally. Oh, that's awesome.
Cool. But it's been
Yeah,
a pleasure talking to you, and thank you. And
you
is
too.
there anything that you would like to share with those who listen to this about their Christian faith or about music that we
Yeah.
haven't touched on?
I mean, I'll just leave with these words. I was just reading, I went like super old school and was reading the Bible, and I read John 13, and where was it? It's just the John 13 where it says they'll know we're Christians by our love. And I'm just like, no, they're not going to know we're Christians by our Bible thumping or our judgments or our super impressive resumes. They're going to know by our love. And so I needed to hear that again today, and so that's what I'm going to leave you with.